Welcome guys to this video on growing and cutting tree plus respawn. Why am I making this video? I already made a video of growing and cutting a tree about 2 years ago in November 13, 2016, and then a day ago I received a comment from Yusef Begalov. He says it looks great, but how do you make them respawn after a while? Alright, so I'm gonna show the whole new project, since this project is old and I have deleted it. So I'm gonna show the whole new project on how to grow the tree, how to cut the tree, and how to respawn the tree as well in C#, not JavaScript. I kind of abandoned the JavaScript, so it's in C#. Alright, so if you go to a Unity engine, under projects, under assets, right click, import packages, camera, characters, and environment. Those three you'll need for this kind of tutorial. Alright, once you do that, go to the standard assets, expand it, find characters, expand that, find third person character, expand that, and then you have a guidelines of how to implement characters into the game. I'm not going to go through it. Let's go to prefabs, third person. You have AI third person, which game controls, not the character, but not the player that is supposed to control the player. No, the game controls it. And then you have third person controller. So all you have to do is grab this, drag it into the game, and drop it like that. I already have one, so I'm going to delete that one. Then go back to standard assets again, find cameras, expand that. Again, you have guidelines for cameras. Go to prefabs. You have free look controller and a multi-purpose control camera rig. Grab that and do not drop it in here. Drop it into the, actually you can drop in here like that. It's fine. So you can so it's closer to the character. Make sure this camera is closer to your character. Like let's see where my character is, like that. So see how close it is. I would have to like move it a little bit this way, right, like that. So character is here, camera is here, right? So I'm gonna delete this because I already have that multi-purpose camera. Once you select the multi-purpose camera rig and hierarchy, find under inspector, find AutoCam script, find target, and there should be nothing here. It should say none transform. Alright, see it says for third person controller. That's what we had to grab, drag, and drop in here. What it does, what this means is there's a script on this object, on this camera, that will follow the player, the target, alright, wherever that target goes. Okay. Now if you hit play, we'll have an issue. Probably figured what kind of issue we have. Well, if you go to on console here, it says there are 2 audio listeners in the scene. Please ensure there is always exactly 1 audio listener in the scene. See, I activated this main camera on purpose just to show you that you know, some people might come across this and they're like, oh my god, what's going on? I cannot figure this out. I'm doing the same thing that he is doing, but look at this, you know. So what you need to do is main camera. You can delete the main camera, or you can just deactivate it and save your scene. Hit play again, and voila, you see how that camera moved towards the player. Now you can control the player by WSAD or up, down, left, right key button. Alright, so that's done. We have that, okay? Probably saw that tree grown. Well, already made that, so. For the tree, what do we have? Well, if you go back to the standard assets, again, find environment, actually, right there. Find speed tree, find Palm, and the one that says Palm desktop, grab that, drop it into the game. And what you'll need here is to scale this tree down to whatever you like. Let's say I'll scale it down to 0.05, 0.05, 0.05. If I get close enough to it, see how small that tree is? That's what I want. Alright, once you do that, alright, then bring in the box collider. Alright, so I'm gonna 3D object, cube. Alright, so we need the box collider, which is a cube. This tree already has its own box collider, but this box collider is for something else. Alright, so I brought in the cube. Actually, no, let's see, this is wrong. Alright, I need to bring in the cube into the game, not into the tree. Here we go. Once you bring the cube in, alright, scale it up. It's okay if you scale it big, because trust me, you'll need it. What? Alright. Deactivate mesh render of that cube. Make sure that the tree is in the center of the cube, so just move the cube around till you see that the tree is in the center of it, like that. And then grab the tree and drag it and put it into the cube. Now it's, you know, in the center. Once you do that, alright, we'll have a script. We're gonna go over the scripts now. Alright, I have 3 scripts. One is growing tree, one is called cutting tree, and one is called respawn tree. I'm gonna look at the growing tree. Alright, first, what do I have on the growing tree? I have serialized field. Serialized field means that it's private, but you can still access it through the inspector, through here. You can see it, you can adjust it, and all that stuff, but it's private. So we have serialized field float max growth equals 1f. What does this 1f mean? Well, usually when you bring something into the game, like environment, bomb, and you drop it, the scale of it, it's 1, x-axis is 1, y-axis is 1, z-axis is 1. So all the object that you bring in, they should be at 1, scale 1, alright? So that's the max growth. This is the, like, I mean, you can make this big, you can make this 150, 150, 150, you know, but you'll have to do it here, not, you know? So that's what that part of the code means, that I am making sure that max growth is 1, the original size of the object. Serialized field float speed growth equals 0.1. Now here we're gonna have 0. Well, this is fast. I know it's fast. We're gonna adjust that inside the inspector. So I'm gonna leave that be. Then I have vector temp scale. This should be commented out. Alright, under update, void update, I have temp scale equals transform that local scale. So I'm putting this temp scale into the transform local scale, referencing to it. why is because there's no other way to do this, but you have to the x, y, and z axis, you have to reference it to something so you can get access to it. Otherwise, you'll have errors. All right. So if I have if statement, if transform the local scale dot x is less than max growth, if the object, all right. So let's say that this is the object. If the object scale, all right, is less than its maximum scale, which is 1, then we apply temp scale dot x plus equal speed growth. Then we apply the growth, this much per second or frame, something like that. Another line, temp scale dot y-axis plus equal speed growth, and another temp scale dot z-axis plus equal speed growth. So if we these three lines of codes are pretty much saying if I can click on it, if this tree is its scale is less than 1, which it is right here, then apply the growth to it, apply the scale it up, the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis, which is thickness. The x-axis is horizontal, y-axis is vertical, and z-axis is the thickness of the tree, or object, whatever you're working on. All right, I hope that clears that out. And then again, we're referencing the transform that local scale back into the temp scale. Now I know it's confusing, it confuses me too, so this is the way I have learned and figured out, so I have to kind of stick with this. I mean, I know there are other easier ways to do this, approach this, but I know this way, and for now I'm sticking with it, so yeah. So once you do that, save your script, go back to Unity Engine, find the tree, find the script, the growing tree script, make sure the palm tree is selected, grab the growing tree, drag the script, and drop it onto the palm tree. Alright. If I hit play, let me just deactivate the other one. If I hit play here, as you can see, tree has been grown really fast. I mean, it's up to its maximum size. So how do we make sure that the tree is growing slower than that? I mean, this grew like in a split second to maximum size. So we have to go back to growing tree, and we have to, well, you can change it here, all right, the value of the speed growth, or in the inspector, if you click on the tree, find the script growing tree that's attached to it, and it says speed growth. If we add a couple of zeros before 1, like that, we hit save, hit play, and now tree grows slower, still grows fast, but you can play with that value on your own time. Once you do that, once that is done, alright, we're going to look into the cutting tree. Now make the C# script called cutting tree, and then we're going to look into the first line of code, which is float cut time equal 3f, which is 3 seconds. Alright, then Then I have serialized field game object cut text. Now this, I'm going to show you what this is for. Go back to Unity Engine. Bring in the canvas. If you don't know how to bring in the canvas, right click on the hierarchy, find UI, find canvas, click on it, and you bring in a canvas like that. Inside that canvas, same canvas, again, right click on it, UI, find panel, click on panel. Once you have panel in, you can rename it. I renamed mine to cut text panel. I always leave that panel at the end so I know it's a panel, it's not something else. Then inside this panel, make sure that this panel is not stretched out. Make sure that is centered like that. If you press Alt key and then click on this icon, it's going to center it. Then you can scale it down to like that, and you can position it anywhere you want inside this. You can position it up here, you can position it in the center, you can position it down here. I choose to position it in the center for now. I'm going to just do this one more time to center it. Inside this panel, right click on it, find UI, find text, click on text, bring in the text in. The text we're going to stretch out throughout the entire thing, alright? Entire panel. Press Alt, then click on this. Alright. Here we're gonna make sure that text is in the middle, make sure that it's white, alright, and it's bold, and it's about 20, alright, font size. We don't need rich text, it's fine. Then go back to panel. We have forgot to make this color of the panel dark, little tint to it, and hit play, see what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Alright, now under text, where it says new text here, we're going to type in something. You're going to type in a message to the player, what you want him to do to be able to cut the tree. Alright, so we're gonna say press Q button to cut this tree. Alright, hit play again. See what it looks like. It looks horrible because I forgot somehow. Okay, what is going on? Yeah, my this thing is messing it up. Alright, so we're gonna do this again. There we go. Now it works. Press Q button to cut your tree. Alright. Now, you don't want this to be visible all the time, right? So, what do we have to do? Go back to, actually we're gonna make this invisible by clicking on there, like that. Checking it off, makes it invisible. Go back to, I'm gonna delete this because I already have this. I just showed you how to do that. I already have one of those. It's called cut text panel. So I'm gonna delete this one. I don't need this one. Just showed you how to make that. It's simple. It's fast. It's quick. It's no big deal. Go back to script. I should zoom in, right? Forgot to do that, right? Just so you guys can see it better. Alright, under cutting tree script, you have this object cut text. Alright, go back to, we did that. So find the cube, the tree that holds the tree. On that cube, grab the cutting tree script, grab and drop onto it. I'm gonna see this cut text. It says non-game object. Now in here we have to grab the cut text panel that we deactivated under the canvas. Grab that we just made like 30 seconds ago and place it in there. Save your scene. Once you do that, go back to scripting again, and I'm going to continue. Public bool entrance. Public bool tree has been cut. Right now, this is just telling the bool whether it's true or false. In this state, it's false. Now under start, I'm making sure that tree has been cut on start as false. All right. And then void update. In the void update function, I have if statement, a couple of if statements. If in parentheses entrance is equal to true, all right, then do something here, which is if, again, another if statement, if input dot key get key down q, you can have it capital Q or a small q, it's fine, it's going to register the same. Input dot get key down q, then we do, when we say okay, now cut text, which is that panel that we had inside the this panel, right, says cut text that set active to false, so we are deactivating it once we press the Q button. Now when do we activate that? Because we don't see it, right? We don't see this. If we hit play, it's not visible. I mean, you don't see it, it's not there, so player won't know what's going on. Well, we have to go further down. We have private void untrigger enter under the cut tree script. Untrigger enter in parentheses collider, the collider call on that call. Then we have if statement, if in parentheses call dot game object dot tag equals player. All right, now we have to make sure that we have a player tagged as player. So go back to Unity Engine, find your third person collider. Under tag, it says player here, right? Under yours, it might say untagged. If it's untagged, click here. See, like that. It should be like this on yours. So click on it, find player, click on that player. If there is no player there, you can add tag and add and type in a player or character, whatever you want to type in that represents the player. All right. If you choose a name of your choice, what you'll need to do is, once you go back to third person controller and then click on here and tag it, that make sure that tag is active under either player or character or whatever. When you go back to cutting tree script, make sure that this name matches the tag, word for word, letter for letter, otherwise it won't work. The game will not register. It will probably going to throw you an error saying this thing does not exist, in the game. So yeah, so this says if the object that collides with the or that enters the collider with tag player, then the bool entrance turn it to true or switch it to true. Like, okay, so something has entered the collider that has a tag player, so switch the entrance to true. So something is, true. The argument is true. Then I have cut text that set active to true. Now this is where we're activating this cut text, the panel. We're activating it once the player enters. Alright. But before you do that, go back to cube again. Make sure that the under the box collider is trigger is check marked. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. If it's not check marked, and I press play, right, like that, and I go to it, and it's gonna just hit the box because it's a collider. It cannot move anywhere. See, it's like I can get close to the tree, right? So this box collider is trigger has to be check marked. Now we have hit play. We get close to the tree. Look, that panel just popped up. It says press Q button to cut this tree. Alright, how to deactivate this? If we decide not to cut the tree and we leave the box collider, well, we go back to the cutting tree script, and under untrigger enter, I have void untrigger exit collider call. You probably wonder why do I have private here and not private there. I mean, it just tells me that it's private. I mean, I can type it here too. If I can spell it, and it's not gonna make any difference. I mean, it is private. I'm just typing it so I know it's private. You don't have to. If you want to, you can. So private void untrigger exit collider call. In if statement, if call dot game object dot tag equals player again. We're checking if player that has entered the collider, if it's exiting the collider. If it exits the collider, then make sure the entrance is false, and then the cut text panel dot set active is false as well. Otherwise, the if I comment this out and I go back to Unity Engine, hit play, get close to the tree, that panel just popped up. If I go out, panel is still there, so it didn't deactivate. So I need to deactivate this. That is how it's done under the on trigger exit. So if I uncomment this, save, go back to Unity Engine, press play, get close to the tree, it says press Q button to cut this tree. If I leave the premises, the panel is deactivated, activated, deactivated. If you pay attention to the cutting tree script here, entrance true, entrance false. Alright, we need that boolean. So we can, so under update, where it says if entrance is true, and then if the get key button Q is pressed, do something. Now, let's say, if I press the Q button here, the only thing that's going to happen is going to deactivate the panel, this panel right here, right? If I go back out and go back in, panel is going to appear again, but we're not cutting the tree, so we need to cut the tree. So we're going to do that. Go back to cutting tree script. After the untrigger exit function, we have another function which is called IEnumerator. Alright, and this IEnumerator, we're going to call it cut timer. I call it cut timer. And the cut timer function, I have yield return new, wait for seconds, cut time. Now this cut time is a float, is up here. The cut time 3 seconds. So it's going to take pretty much this line of code says after 3 seconds do something here. Now here I'm saying this, that game object, that set active, false. Now what does this mean? Why is there this in here? This is referencing to the game object that has this script attached to it. Alright, so automatically this is saying this game object that has this script attached to it, set it active to false, make sure it's invisible. Alright, it disappears. And then I have another boolean that I'm turning it into true, which is called tree has been cut equals true. That's for the another script to check on it whether it's true or false. Well, after you type that, save it, go back to Unity Engine, hit play. Let's see if how that works. If you get close to the tree, press Q. It's not gonna cut because I forgot something. Forgot to mention something. Go back to cutting tree. I'm sorry. Under update, under if statement, the second if statement, if input get key down Q, the cut text, under the text I have commented out start quarantine. Type in start quarantine in parentheses cut timer, open close parentheses and then close parentheses. This cut timer is the IEnumerator cut timer. Save it again, go back to Unity Engine, wait for it to load. Alright, press play, let's get to it. Goes to the tree, press Q, in 3 seconds it should cut the tree. Now here it says tree has been cut. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need to tell our script that tree has been cut. Now so far so good, right? Now how do we respawn the tree? Well, we need another script called respawn tree. We're going to look into that script right now. So we're done with the cutting tree. We don't need anything else in it. We're going to switch to respawn tree. Alright, once you make the C# script called respawn tree, you can name it what you want. In the first line of code, I have serialized field game object this tree. Now what does this mean? What does this mean? I am making sure that I know that whatever I add to this in the inspector is what is going to be responding. So go back to cube that we made that had tree in, and under cube we're gonna add create empty. That empty, I'm going to take out that empty out of the cube and rename it to tree holder. And I'm going to grab the cube and the palm that has the palm in it, palm tree in it, grab it and drop it onto the tree holder. I'm going to select the tree holder. I'm going to grab the respawn tree script and I'm going to grab it, drop it onto the tree holder. Make sure that this is empty object, not a cube or anything else, just an empty object. Under the respawn tree script, we have the first line of code which just says this tree. So what are we trying to respawn? This tree, which is the cube, not the tree itself. Right? If we delete the tree, delete the tree itself, we're not deleting in this case. But if we, make the tree invisible, then the cube, the one that checks if the player is entered is always going to be functioning the way it's supposed to, right? So we don't want that. We want to make sure that even this cube is being deactivated. So instead of, this tree, so the cube pretty much represents the tree right now. So grab the cube, drag it, and drop it onto this tree, and save the scene. Go back to respawn tree script. Next line of code, public bool respond tree. Now here I am checking whether the tree has been respawned or not. Alright, I'm not checking it, I'm just referencing it. I'm gonna check it later on, but I have to set it whether it's true or false. At the start it's always false, right? Then here I am trying to get the access to the cutting tree. So cutting tree, cut tree. Pretty much I call it cut tree, shorter. On the void start, I have cut tree equals game object dot find object of type lesser than symbol cutting tree greater than open close parentheses. Now this line of code will look for the object that has this script attached to it, which is the cube, and cube has the cutting tree script on it. Okay, once it finds on the start, once it finds, right, we all set. We can access it, right? So void update if, in parentheses, cut tree, which is that we need to access that script. Alright, so cut tree dot tree has been cut equals true. Now this tree has been cut is under this is boolean that is under the cutting tree script right here. It's false. We have it on the start false. If it's true, if you go back to respawn tree, if it's true, we are checking if the tree has been cut is true. If it's true, then do something here. Alright, so what we have to do, we have to pretty much set the tree active again, but after a while, what this commentator says looks great, but how do you make them respawn after a while? Well, this is how you do it. Alright, so you have to make another, after update, another function called iNumerator. Alright, and you can call this whatever you want. I call it set tree visible. Alright, inside this function I have yield, return, new, wait for seconds, 5f, which is 5 seconds. You can make this into 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or half an hour or whatever you want. You can even reference it. You can even go up here and say float wait time to respawn tree equals 30f, and then do that. Alright, and then what you're going to do here is just copy this and paste it in here. Oh, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Copy, paste. There you go. It's the same thing. Alright, but this time it's going to be 30. So we don't want 30. We're gonna go 5. There's just an example for you to know, to see how that works. Under this line, we have this tree that set active is true. So this tree, which is the cube. Alright, if you go back to the respawn tree, we have cube as a tree. Set it to true, make it visible. Even the function itself says set tree visible. So that's why I make these functions kind of obvious to understand what am I trying to accomplish here under this function. I'm trying to make the tree visible. And then respond tree equals true. So it's been respond, since it's been respond, then I'm making the tree respond tree to true. Why? Because I'll get that later, but now we have to make sure that this IEnumerator set tree visible function is called, because nobody's calling it right now. So you have to go back up to update under the if cut tree has been cut equals true. I'm going to uncomment start current team in parentheses set tree visible open close parentheses, and that is how this line of code function will be called every time when the tree has been cut is equal to true, and this line of code will activate. Alright, actually it's gonna keep activating, keep looping. This thing is gonna keep looping as long as the tree has been cut is equal to true. So how do we fix that to make sure that this does not loop constantly? Well, right after we start this function and the update, then we say cut tree dot tree has been cut equals false right away. We don't want much waste here. I don't know if I do the return here. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it, or is it the break? I don't think the break works. Well, we'll see. Just put return there, because I think this is like, do it once. If it's, you know, true, right away go back, and if it's true again, well, we switch to false, then it's not going to do anything. I think that's how that works, right? All right, save that, and yeah, after you save that, go back to Unity Engine again, wait for the script to load. It's loaded, hit play. Do we have any? Let's see if we're gonna have any issues. Press Q, wait for the tree to be cut in 3 seconds. Yep. Now wait 5 seconds to respond. Let's see if it's gonna respond. It does respond, but it responds from that point where it has been grown. So this tree is getting big. If I cut it again, 3 seconds passed, cut tree, respond in 5 seconds, and it's big. Like, see, it's not resetting its scale. It does respond. I mean, I've been asked to make the tree respond, right? But it's not setting the tree to its original size, which is the small size when it started to grow. So how do we fix that? How do we make the tree restart the scale of it, which is on the grow tree? How do we rescale this to a minimum scale? Well, I have commented this line. I'm going to uncomment these lines of codes and then go through it. But first, up here I have to call the respawn tree, which I forgot. Alright, here we go. Reference the script, get the script actually. Respawn tree, which is this one. Alright, called it R tree as in respawn tree. Under void start, uncomment respawn tree, which is R tree, equals game object dot find object of type lesser than respawn tree greater than open close parentheses. Now this is going to get access to the respawn tree. Now, the respawn tree, I have this not set active. Okay, all right. So we have to go back to respawn tree again, and we're gonna have to make a float, which is going to be public float, and we're going to call it something like start tree size, or scale back the tree to original size, or something like that. I call it start tree size, as in like start beginning of the tree size, which is small, equals 0.985f. Now you probably wonder why exactly that. Actually, this should be 95, not 95. Why do I have it on the value of it 0.95? Well, I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm going to get back to it. Alright, save that respawn tree, go back to growing tree script, and now we can go through these lines of codes. So if statement, I brought in if statement, and then I'm accessing the respawn tree. I'm checking if respawn tree is equal to true. That respawn tree is false, but here, as you can see under the IEnumerator, set tree active is actually true. So this sets it to true. So here I'm checking if that respawn tree is true. Then what I need to do here is pretty much copy all this, right? I copied, pasted, and then said, okay, temp scale dot x minus equal, then I'm accessing the respawn tree here, respawn tree dot start tree size. So I'm subtracting, right? I'm subtracting the value of the speed growth, right? Of the max growth, which is 1, right? I'm subtracting it. I'm subtracting from the x-axis, from the y-axis, and from the z-axis the same way, same amount, same value, which is 0.9f. Now, how does that work? All right, if I pull out the calculator, and I type in 1, right, minus 0.95, I get 0.05. If you go back to Unity Engine, click on the palm, look at the scale, it says 0.006. Now we're gonna have to resize this a little better. So I'm gonna have this is what we're gonna do. Since in calculator I have 0.05, right? I'm gonna make sure that this scale of that tree that we are scaling is also 0.05. Alright, y-axis 0.05, z-axis 0.05. Enter. Alright. Now this tree, if I press play, is this tree big? No, it's not. Okay, it's fine. So it's gonna start. So watch the tree scale. When it gets to 1, it's gonna stop. This x and y and z axis. It's gonna keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. It's a pretty big tree. It did surpass the 1, but that's fine. You know, just by milliseconds. I don't even know if it's a millisecond. It's even less than milliseconds. All right. So if I get close to it and I hit press button, the scale is going to be subtracted. Should be subtracted at the beginning. Let's see if it's going to subtract. Yeah, it did. See how that subtracted from the scale, the number 0.95. That's that value that we subtracted just for a split second. But there's a glitch. The glitch is the tree when it responds for a split second is still at its size 1, and then goes, and then the value is in effect. This value is in effect in the growing tree. All right. So I hope that you understood that. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm subtracting this value inside the growing tree script, right, from the max growth value in a split second. And then again we have to do the reference transform the local scale back to the temp scale, and then here I'm saying after this code is done, then I'm saying okay, r3 dot respond tree equals false. So I'm telling this script, respond tree script, that has respond tree bool. When we set it to true, make sure that it's false, that it's back to false, so we can loop this again next time the tree is ready to be cut. If this is always true, then this line of code is gonna keep looping and looping and looping and looping, and you don't want that. Alright, let me just put return here and see what happens after I do that, if it's going to fix that glitch. I mean, that's pretty much it for the responding tree. I mean, I hope I covered everything for it, right? We have, I'm gonna just wait for it to scale to 1. I mean, you can have it for this panel to only be active once the scale is at 1. You can have it like that too. So you can cut the tree while it's young, only when it's grown, fully grown, right? If I press Q button, 3 seconds, let's see, it disappears. Let's see if that glitch is gonna come up. Yeah, it does. For a split second, it still grows, still is like, at the full size, and then so that return did not work. I hoped it did, but it didn't. I mean, there's a way to fix that glitch, but that glitch is just a minor issue for now. Alright, so that's it. That's it for this video. I hope you guys find it useful. Please feel free to ask if you need, if you're a beginner and you need something like shown through the script how it's done. Feel free to comment, ask, and when I have time, I'll do my best to make the video of it and post it. All right. So again, thanks for watching. If you like it, please do press like. If you wanna keep on posted, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next videos.